In addition to Sheely's green wallpaper, alum bread, borax milk, and stewing yourself, what are the other ways to die in the Victorian England? Hello guys, this is Professor Oscar. Welcome back to another different ways to die at home in Victorian England. First of all, the stairs at home were a fatal thing. Death trap is what many experts called the stairs at that time. Although there are still like 300,000 stair accidents every year in modern Britain, there were far more serious accidents in the Victorian era. At that time, both the economy and population was in a state of rapid growth, and more people meant by more houses, so the design of townhouses appeared. People no longer own large area of land and independent houses, but vertically upgrade space on the limited land. Such houses would inevitably lead to smaller single-story areas, higher story heights, and naturally narrower stairs, getting steeper and dangerous. However, this kind of housing did not have corresponding laws and regulations and no building standards. The main staircase of some middle class and above families were built magnificently to show their wealth and pomp to the outsiders, but the servants' stairs were built using low-cost material and quality problems arose. Some architects found the construction formula of safe stairs with scientific calculations. If you want to go up and down the stairs safely, the width should be less than 121 centimeters. But at that time, the width of the stairs in many houses were reduced to 76 centimeters, and the depth was also greatly reduced. Some were just enough to accommodate a sideways foot. If you were a little careless or in a hurry, you may end up rolling down the stairs and break your bones or crack your skull. Not sure if you know that there's the subway entrance in New York that makes people tripping frequently. It's because the height of each step is different, making it easy for those who have adapted to the previous stair height for tripping over. The poorly built Victorian staircase also had this problem. Not only did they not build according to the architect's formula, but also made each step with an uneven height. Even with the difference in height between the steps is only half a centimeter, it's easy for passerby to fall off their backs. Therefore, stairs were one of the leading cause of death in your warm and cozy home. Dressing was also a big problem. Corsets were considered as an essential part of women's clothing at that time, and only women who wore corsets had attractive curves and graceful figures. But for this, beautiful ladies have paid a heavy price. In the 10 or 20 years since 1860, the perfect female image under the shaped corset can be seen everywhere. Newspapers, magazines, celebrities, dancers, all promoting and endorsing it. The tightness of corsets is determined by a women's class, status, occupation, and fashion. Women who wore loose clothing were considered to have no taste, no status, and were labeled as poor people. Ridiculous. Therefore, in order to adapt themselves to the British Empire at that time, many women stepped into the cage for the symbol of the upper class. However, the deadliest thing about the corset was the invention of these little small metal rings. Because they greatly allowed the degree to which the corset could be tightened, unlike previous era where corsets without these little metal rings, the corsets back then would tear if pulled too hard. There was a period when it was trendy to wear super tight shapewear. Shapewear was also recommended by society to wear it all the time, regardless of the occasion or season, and many women trained their body's flexibility and fitness in order to do so. On the left is a normal distribution of human organs. Under the long-term external force change of the tight corset, not only the ribs will be deformed, but also various internal organs will be squeezed and deformed. Experimental monitoring also showed serious effect on breathing, where hypoxia, meaning our body is not getting enough oxygen, makes the brain dizzy, easy to lose consciousness and fainting. Under the environmental condition at that time, it was also possible to cause pneumonia or even lung disease and death. And the number of pieces of clothing added up may directly cause suffocation to death. If the woman with rickets is deficient in vitamin D and wears corset, her bones will twist and poke her internal organs. Fortunately, since 1881, there have been more and more voices against shapewear, and there have been related organizations and movements fighting for women's right to freedom of clothing and healthy clothing. In the beginning of 1890, many clothing manufacturers gradually began to respond to these protests, and more loose clothing came to market and spread among the population. With the development of economy, consumer culture began to prevail. Children are also provided with unprecedented entertainment, especially Christmas is also associated with the concept of children receiving gifts. So, are children's toys safe? The answer is of course not, or else why would it appear in this video? At that time, many brightly colored toys were made of a lot of highly toxic heavy metals, such as white colored toys were painted with a lot of lead. Lead, which is poisonous in small doses to adults, is a disaster to children. In addition to daily contact with toys, children also have the habit of licking and chewing. Sometimes they lick their own hands, sometimes they lick the toys, and they may even swallow small bits of toys by mistake. The most important thing is that many toxic substances, the taste is very unpleasant, and people can instinctively reject them. But the taste of lead happens not to be unpleasant, so it won't keep the children away. So why did the Victorians mix lead into their paint and toys, even though the Romans back then already knew about this toxicity? The reason is very simple, because the paint with lead can make wood products look more beautiful and last longer. Profitable businessmen didn't think about how the toxin will be delivered to the child's body. Lead poisoning can directly lead to nervous system problems, directly affecting children's psychology, behavior, and immune system. The most obvious symptoms are dizziness, weakness, diarrhea, abdominal pain, loss of temper, difficulty concentration, and short stature. Yes, that's a lot of problems. Lead wasn't just found in children's toys either. It was in the paint of the walls of houses and wooden doors and door frames. And the painted woodwork of most Victorian houses contained varying level of lead. Adults, of course, couldn't escape from lead. Lead was found in various products of Ladd's Bloom of Youth, a very popular cosmetic brand at that time, causing fatigue, emaciation, nausea, muscle wasting, and paralysis in users. Adults who have been exposed to lead for a long time have visible unhealthy faces and grey ulcers in mouths, gums, and tongue. But it was too late when the symptoms of lead poisoning was really discovered, and the government at that time did not take any measures against various situations of lead poisoning. In 1920, European countries such as Spain, Czechoslovakia, Poland, and the Nordic countries all banned the addition of lead to paint, but Britain did not. It was not until more than 100 years after the lead poisoning problem, in 1970, that the British government had corresponding regulatory measures. Perhaps the development of society is accompanied by such drug testing. I hope that we're lucky enough to live a healthy life in this current era. Great, that's all for today. If you like my channel, please accent the like button, follow my Instagram account, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. And I'll see your beautiful face next time. Bye!